And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, for some people watching this right now, they might be thinking, hey, this shirt combination, this looks familiar. The layout's different, but there's something familiar about this. This is the second recording of the day for us. So much wrestling. We went from Tyler doesn't know if he's going to order the pay-per-view to it's 10:11 p.m. and we are recording a post-show reaction. How you doing tonight, man?
Yeah, man. Well, first, let me start by saying that I'll have you know, Brad, I specifically changed my shirt for this purpose. I brought out my rare. This is a debut on GI, man. We've been doing this for years now. This is a debut of my Neapolitan bar shirt. I brought it out because this is a special recording. Yeah, you convinced me. All Out was purchased. I watched the show. I watched every match, including 0 Hour. We had some Wi-Fi issues at one point. We'll get into that when we talk about the card. But I caught nearly every minute of the show. And you were right, my friend. It was amazing. I had a blast. I'm feeling great.
I also believe it's the debut of the Upper Hand Brewery shirt. I'm sure the audio sounded great there as I stood away from the mic. But
proud of us.
Yeah. I had to switch it up. Like I wear glasses. I got a different tee.
You do have the glasses.
I thought you had a two-tone shirt on earlier, and maybe I was wrong about that. But that's what I saw it, and I was like,
I don't remember what I was wearing.
Hold up. You absolutely were not. You were wearing a gray tee or a gray sweatshirt, kind of a darker gray. I'm looking at the recording right now.
I'm so long ago. I'm not even trying to be facetious. I don't remember what I was wearing.
That was 12 hours ago when we started talking. It was 12
no
hours
clue.
ago.
I got nothing, man.
Yeah. This is great content. I'm glad.
Great content for everybody. Yep.
Crap we were wearing earlier in the day. Hopefully the people are listening to this you're having a happy Labor Day, a restful Labor Day. You aren't laboring. We are, so you don't have to. And if you are working, hopefully this helps pass the time. Tyler, let's just get into it. There was so much that happened here. I kind of loved everything about this show. I knew they had to go big. I predicted an unbelievable night. I thought this might be the best show of the year for them outside of Wembley. Kind of hard for me to argue against that right now. The way that I'm feeling, I'll have to give it some of the stuff a rewatch. But man, this show was fun. The pre-show, the 0 Hour, Hangman Adam Page was the last survivor, finally eliminating Brian Cage, who thought he won in one of my favorite, I think it was the crowd favorite, the over budget charity battle royale. I think is a great name for this. I thought this was fun. We got to see Scorpio Sky come back, and all of it was pretty good. And we find out later on that the $50,000 went to education fund in Chicago. So it's a former teacher winning a match in the pre-show, the 0 Hour. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. There's a lot of fun moments in this match. What did you think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So part of why I love the show so much is that it reminded me of the older AEW pay-per-views. There was just something about it. And I think it really started for me right off the bat with this over-budget battle royal. We know that's a call back to the original All In. And the right guy won, for sure. I popped, not only when Scorpio came out, that was a pop by itself. And I think you may have even predicted that earlier. You were like, well, maybe we'll see Scorpio or
I was hoping so, yeah.
Thunder Rosa, but you called Scorpio for sure. When we got Hangman in this, huge pop for me. And he was the odds-on favorite, right dude to get the W. And like you said, Brad, about the connection to Chicago public schools, Hangman's professional background. This was perfect. I also thought Brian Cage looked good. Definitely definitely always does, right? He's really on a run here. For those guys to be the final two, for Hangman to hit the dead eye on Cage, and then it's a wrap from there. Hangman gets the win. This was awesome. This was a ton of fun. Perfect opener for a 0 hour.
Yeah, I can't agree more. Dalton Castle coming out and saying he's going to win the battle royale, and that's going to feed a lot of chickens. Is I don't understand it at all. Absolutely amazing still.
And the Mogul Embassy they had a promo before this match. We're gonna Prince Nana said we're gonna donate it to the Mogul Embassy Fund. So silly, but I also laughed at that. I was like, man, I just love pro wrestling. All these guys are great.
Yeah, can't confirm. You did text me and say I love pro wrestling and a laughing emoji. It was
yep. Love Nana, love Lexi. Yes. All of this was fantastic.
Yeah, it was incredible. Speaking of the 6-woman tag team match, I know it was 8:30 and there was the stuff beforehand. Dude, I loved this. I thought this was so much fun. First of all, I love all the women that are in this match. So having Sheeta and Willow Nightingale, it's hard to say Nightingale for me. It's Willow. But I'm not going to be like, yep, Blue and Nightingale are out there wrestling. So Sky Blue, Willow Nightingale, Hikaru Shida tagged against Athena, Mercedes Martinez, and Diamante with Billy Starks. I don't even remember seeing Billy Starks there. Like it felt like an afterthought to me, because as soon as they started mentioning her name, it was focused on Diamante in the ring. So really glad that Diamante's back kind of in the spotlight a little bit more, because she went away for a good 2 years, it feels like, where she was living on dark and then just not doing anything at all. I think she's underrated. I thought it was great. There was some Athena and Sheeta need to have a singles match and give them 20 minutes. I
think we're getting that. You could tell they made it a point to have those two face off. Audience gave the approval with their reaction. I would surmise that's going to happen at the next ROH pay-per-view.
Those two were hitting each other ferociously, and it ended up spilling outside the ring into one of my favorite moments of the night. And that was the Willow pounce into Athena, knocking her about 8 feet into the announce table, or into like whatever table that was.
Yeah.
It's like Willow is so great at just doing the pounce, man. Like,
she's a future champ. Yeah,
she has to be straight. Yeah,
she's got next.
It's so good. I love this. Right team won. It was a great way to, again, get people excited. Get your homegrowns there, get Sky Blue, the hometown hero there, and put on a bunch of women that are all just stars. It's unfortunate that we do get a lot of multi-woman women's match instead of some singles matches here and there. But I'm glad we did get one on the main card, even though there was, foolishness throughout the night. The next match on the card, the Acclaimed, which I'm glad we got, defeated Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, and Jay Lethal with Sanjay Dutt wearing a Zeke jersey. Sanjay coming out wearing an Isaiah Thomas Detroit Pistons jersey. What a better way to do this, because the Acclaimed came out with Dennis Rodman, and I thought about this and I was like, did they know that he was on that team with Isaiah Thomas? Are they aware that he's a bad boy before he was in Chicago?
That's true. Yeah, everyone realizes that.
No, I was thinking about that, and it was like, Rodman played with Isaiah Thomas and won 2 championships.
Yeah.
I don't. When they're like, yeah, he won all these championships, I'm like, yeah, a couple of them were with the team.
That's so, and I know that, but I didn't even think about that when I was watching. That's a great point.
But nobody's out there going like, oh yeah, the great Spur.
Yeah,
Dennis Rodman, right? Like I think we think of him as a bull because the spotlight was on him. That's when he did the hair change colors, and he did the NWO run. But yeah, he had like more
Carmen Electra.
That. Yes, he had that earlier '90s flat top thing going when he played for the Pistons. So yeah,
was he number 10 back then as well?
That sounds right.
He definitely was in '91 when he was in Detroit. I think he was 10. When he was on the Spurs and, I don't know. Pistons, I'm confident.
Yeah, he was 10 in the Pistons.
Yeah.
I can't remember the Spurs.
I think the Spurs was 10 as well.
I can't find him. He was definitely 10 for them. Let's see. I again, we are really delivering on the content people want here. He didn't have the flat top. He had like his hair was a little taller.
Yeah.
And then he just like rounded it off.
What did you think? What did you think of the entrance for Sanjay and company? With the basketball hoop.
I loved it.
Me too.
So over the top pro wrestling. Everything about it was like ridiculous, over the top spectacle, and I freaking loved it.
I love them as a group, honestly. Like I can't just point to one thing about them. It's like the diversity aspect of it just works.
Yes.
I just feel like the spots they're put in, I don't need them to ever have gold as a trio or even really any of these dudes as singles competitors, respectfully. But for whatever reason, man, for me, they always work in the spots that they're in. I thought this was a great use of them, and good to have the Acclaimed on the show, even if it wasn't the main card.
So something that I think that I understand why people don't like him. I think I kind of do. Maybe I'm struggling, but Jeff Jarrett is still doing this at a very freaking high level at his age.
I like Jeff Jarrett a lot.
And there's not a lot of people that are his age that have been doing it for this long that are still doing it like that, because he's been doing this longer than Matt Hardy. And Matt Hardy looks like his body is definitely struggling out there because of the way that he wrestled for so long, where Jeff Jarrett is sort of a traditional old school, I'm out of the territories wrestler. I mean, his dad ran a territory. Jarrett ran a territory. So there's this kind of old school aspect to him, but he knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to just be super irritating. And everybody in that group is just annoying enough, with Jay Lethal just sort of going along with it. Satnam Singh just going along with it. But you have Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett and Sanjay just knowing how to be maximum annoying. I thought this is so fun. This was only 5 minutes and 57 seconds long. With the entrances and all the other stuff, it made it feel like a lot longer than it actually was. From bell to bell, it was under 6. But during all of that time, I thought it was great. I loved the heck out of all of this. I thought it was Dennis Rodman getting involved, Karen Jarrett being there. So Daddy Ass calling an audible and saying, nope, get out Edwards. I want a different ref. All of it was just so stupid and wonderful and pro wrestling. All incredible. I love it.
For sure. And of course, the big spot was we got Rodman hitting. It was Lethal, I think, right?
No, Satnam Singh.
It was Satnam. Yeah, he hit Satnam with the guitar.
He hit the basketball player with it.
Yep. Yeah, that's
so
right.
Talked about him being afraid he'd never be able to guard him and all that stuff. So
right. Yeah, that you're absolutely right. And
after his quote choke slam yesterday,
his push of Sanjay in the throat area, the throat region, and then after the match, we get the 4-way scissor with Rodman. Yeah, it definitely did not need to be on the main card, that's for sure. But to close 0 Hour, totally works. I was still beaming at this point that we got to see Athena.
Yeah,
the babyface team in that women's match, Brad, Willow, Sky Blue, Hikaru Shida, just fantastic. Like, great. Every pay-per-view, please. This 0 Hour was super effective in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, like they might look at it and go like, well, it was the buy rate and stuff, and I don't know if they even considered that. This is just a thing to warm up the crowd, to maybe get people interested in, because we had our friend Stephen Cameron reach out to us with an Instagram or a TikTok video. I can't remember which. It was a link on Twitter. It's all very confusing social media stuff. But it was of Rodman. I think it was a reel on Instagram, but of the Rodman spot, the guitar spot of Rodman. And if the friend of the show that is covering the Orlando Magic is reaching out to us with a clip of a former basketball player in a wrestling ring, then you know that the goal was to reach outside of the wrestling bubble, and it accomplished that. It's getting views in other places.
Exactly. One of my friends also let me know the same thing. Like, I hear Rodman was on the show. Like, yeah, and he's still culturally relevant.
Yeah,
like his shirts are in PacSun, and I see kids all the time wearing the Chicago Bulls red jersey with the colorful hair. Like, man, this dude is still, you know, still out here. I don't know about the North Korean thing. That's still a little strange to me. And Platinum Max put it in his rap. Still really perplexing, but I don't know. Dennis seems like he's got a good heart, and I think TK and company really prioritize. Well, I mean, you could argue this. I was going to say they prioritize people who just seem like solid individuals, but I say that knowing Sabu was here a few months back, and I didn't even realize Sabu has some skeletons in his closet. I think this worked, Brad. I just, for 0 hour, this really, I thought the match order made a lot of sense. I thought the acts that we saw were great. Again, we got Hangman, we got the ladies in the previous match, then the Acclaim coming out on top. I just thought this was a really well-paced, well-designed 0 hour. The hour flew by for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, absolutely whipped by. I watched almost all of the 0 hour on my own. I did not have a lot of people around me at that time, trying to get dinner ready and all that. So I appreciated how entertaining it was, and having Renee be there and them treating it. The WWE, I think, does a really good job with the pre-show panels and the video packages and bouncing back and forth. But AEW doing it in their own way, I think they found a winning combination there with RJ City and Renee Paquette. Whatever they got to do to pay them to keep them around is what they should be doing, because they're money doing this in between stuff and the intro stuff and just the video packages. I absolutely love it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the wrestling was really good on the pre-show, really entertaining, I should say. Doesn't really matter if the wrestling was like the best technical wrestling in the world. It was just fun and good variety to start the show. And then we go into the main card. And Tyler, we start off with Better Than You, Baby, beating the Dark Order, which I think we thought was going to happen, even though John Silver, Alex Reynolds would make a lot of sense as ROH tag champs. I think that the right team won. We get to continue that a little bit. I know MJF is a little pissed right now because Samoa Joe'd him. And I love this. It took me a second because I was like, oh, he just pushed by him, and I thought he was just giving him a little shove. And it didn't even dawn on me for a second about the security thing, because I went online and I was just looking. I was going to tweet something, and I saw like somebody had the video clip of what happened in the ring, and it was Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe pushed him again, and I went, again. Oh, that's right. That's right. So what a great callback at the end of the match. The match itself, though, was a ton of fun. I was sitting in my living room. I had my father-in-law was there. A colleague of ours was there. The voice of GI, Mr. Alf Ferguson, was with us. And I think it was Chuck who went, I just want to see a kangaroo kick, because he even it.
Okay, Chuck.
And I was like, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous and over the top and wonderful. How can you not like this? It's so stupid.
And it has no relevance to the Dark Order. That was strictly an Aussie Open gimmick. Like that was last weekend.
That was his tag team move.
Now there's the shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. The crowd is clamoring for it. Chuck is well, maybe not demanding it, but Chuck wants to see it. so when the kick was delivered, did he erupt with joy?
We were all I was much more excited, I think, than anybody else in the room.
Okay, because he landed it flush too. Like MJF has perfected this thing.
Yeah, there were a few moments in this pay-per-view, I will say, on the critical side, where there was like, especially in that Bullet Club Young Bucks FTR match, where people were just sort of missing their stuff and selling literal nothing. And I didn't love that. But I don't think there was any question if MJF connected. I'm pretty sure you could see a head just like jerk to the side when he kicked him. But I thought this was a lot of fun. I love that he sold the neck. I love that he got called out. and then had to come back to huge baby face pop when he came back through the curtain. All of that was just predictable and so much fun. It was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was. And this was one of those matches where I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know how I felt about it being on an AEW pay-per-view. There was a lot of ROH on this show, and but just my feelings heading in were really skewed by it. But now, having the hindsight of watching this show, really enjoying this show, what a great night for Silver and Reynolds.
Yes.
For them, and I don't even need to look this up, Brad. This is absolutely their first pay-per-view match as a tag team. What a great look for them, and so many other talents where they were in a big spot for the first time on a show like this. Great use of them, even though the outcome was expected. MJF and Adam Cole, arguably the two most over dudes on your entire roster. For them to open the show, fantastic choice. They really caught magic here with Better Than You, Baby. Yeah, this was a really, really great tag opener. I had a ton of fun with it.
And I think the one thing, and then we'll move on here, that we talked about on the other show, on the main show, was that I had a feeling that whatever was going to happen at the end of this was going to set up MJF's next feud, his next match, and we got that. So MJF Samoa Joe is coming up. Whether or not it's for the TV title or the world title, I don't know, but it sure feels like it's going to happen here pretty soon. Maybe it's title for title. I don't know. I hope it's not. I don't want that to be the case, but who knows?
Do you think it's Arthur Ashe or that Dream show in October?
Man, great question. Ooh, I have no idea.
It's got to be one or the other, right?
I would say, like, if it's those two, then it's, since that one's in conjunction with New Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it'll be at that show. I don't think it'll be Arthur Ashe. And I think that what's a better place to have MJF be a babyface?
Right.
So I think that's got to be the one.
Wow. What a resurgence for Samoa Joe as well.
Yes. Holy shit. We got to talk about that tope.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I guess this is rolling into him versus Shane Taylor. Yeah. And this was, I believe, the shortest match on the main card. This was under 6 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like the entrances were longer than.
Yeah. Yeah. So first, big ups to Shane Taylor. Again, like Silver and Reynolds, great spot for him to be in. Really enjoyed what I've seen of him. But yeah, for Samoa Joe, man, like his work on Collision has just completely reinvigorated his AEW run. Obviously, he was TNT champ. He had the feud with Wardlow. So it's not as if he wasn't attaining success, but the reactions he gets now, just the way I view him as a threat on the roster in storyline, it's completely shifted. It's completely gone up. So he was great in this match. And yeah, this is exactly what the match needed to be. It didn't need to be a marathon, but these were just two heavy hitters going at it. Joe submits Taylor. This worked for me. Samoa Joe is that dude.
I think that he could very easily become rapidly the face of the company, at least for veteran leadership.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Right? He's just really good, and he seems to be getting better. And like his ring shape is so much better than it was when he came back right after filming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you brought that up.
He just looked winded and everything. And tonight he did the biggest tope I've ever seen, and it was good. It wasn't like just he lurched through the ropes.
He flew.
That was Darby like. It was.
Yeah, it was. We got one of my favorite Darby tope suicidas or darts or whatever we're calling it. We'll get to that.
Darby piss missiles. Like
Darby, absolutely. But you're right, man. Joe was inspired by a former foe, Darby Allin. There, absolutely.
200-pound Darby, 200-pound more Darby Allin. It's like 3 Darby Allins in the air.
Yes,
it's bonkers.
At least
it's just bonkers, man. So that was a lot of fun. Luchasaurus with Christian Cage defeated Darby Allin and with Nick Wayne. I think we saw this coming. I don't know about you, but I thought this is going to happen. I don't know how Darby is living after last week and now this week, where he took a couple of ugly bumps, and I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. And I think that he needs to get better. I'm thankful that he looks like he's probably okay, but I hope he got beat up enough in the ring to justify being gone for a month or two and just showing up again randomly. Maybe Arthur Ashe. I would love to see him disappear. No video packages, nothing, just him show up. He worked for Hangman. He was the surprise entrant in the battle royal, right? Or the casino battle royal.
Yeah. The Joker.
He was the Joker. Yep.
Right.
Yep. So maybe that happens, but I thought this was fun. Christian Cage, as always, was great on the outside with the towel. We had two stories happening, the one in the ring, the one outside the ring. I thought it was fun. A lot of really cool spots, but there's a lot of uncomfortable moments in this too. But it added to the realism, I think. It was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I was actually a bit surprised on this one, Brad. You mentioned that you were expecting this. I actually thought Darby was going to take the W, but I'm not mad at how it played out. Christian's been so good on the mic.
Yeah.
One of my favorite calls on commentary tonight was when Nigel said, come on, he's a father.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was probably after Darby hit the lawn dart, the missile on him. He's a father.
Like the Father of the Year sign was
Father of the Year sign. Yeah, he switched to the. You and I talk about pay-per-view gear every once in a while. Christian switched to the white turtleneck instead of the. It's just so good. I know Luchasaurus is the champion, and that's a whole storyline in and of itself. But Christian's been so great with this that I think Luchasaurus winning was the right call. I thought Darby was going to take it, but Luchasaurus winning makes a ton of sense. We spoke about this on our other episode, our weekly episode. I'm glad Nick Wayne didn't turn on Darby. I could see the reasoning for that with the AR Fox stuff, but I'm glad that Nick stuck with his mentor. And that kid has such a bright future too. This was good, man. This was really good. And again, shout out to Luchasaurus. His first singles match no, that's a lie. He and Jungle Boy had that steel cage match. Yeah. But he lost, right? So for Luchasaurus to get a big win in a singles capacity, big ups to him. Yeah, this was another match that just served its purpose. And it was brutal. There were some spots in that code red that Darby hit on Luchasaurus. Awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, they got me there. I thought there was a chance that was going to be it.
We were talking about it while it was live, and it was, he rotates another couple of inches and he's in a wheelchair forever. These guys are so good at what they do. It's unreal how people don't get hurt more often, which is why I know they talk about it like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this on the indies. These are people that have been doing this in professional settings. I don't know how much of that is actually true, but yeah, there's a few times where I was like, oh man, but I will always pop for a Luchasaurus headbutt. It's one of my favorite things that he does because it just looks so brutal every time. But speaking of brutal, the next match, I loved this. Miro defeated Powerhouse Hobbs by submission. Did I think it was the best match of the evening? Nope. Did I think it was the best crowd reaction of the evening? Yep. How could you possibly have suspected that the crowd was going to be chanting "slap his meat" over and over and over again? All of it. Beat his meat was one of the chants. Not a big fan of that. There were a lot of meat chants, meat related chants. It was amazing. And they were really hossing each other around out there. I think they did a great job showcasing the power of both of these guys and just how evenly matched they are. I loved Powerhouse Hobbs trying to do the game over. All of it. So much fun. I would love to see these guys do this again. Powerhouse Hobbs has come such a long way. And I thought Miro looked great in this. Hobbs looked really strong in this. It was a fun match.
Mm-hmm. We even got the word meat chanted when they were exchanging strikes. Meat.
Amazing.
Meat.
Yes.
Chicago really came through for these two guys. It really enhanced my enjoyment of the match. I'm just so glad, as being a fan of both of these guys, I'm just so glad that they got this moment, because some of their previous appearances on pay-per-views, Brad, I thought the matches were a little underwhelming. I could think of Hobbs versus Ricky Starks on a couple of occasions. I think last we saw of Miro, he had that one 6-man where I think it was him, Darby, and Sting beat House of Black. Him and Danielson faced off once. I just think these guys needed to hit a home run, and they absolutely did. Like you said, they hossed each other around. I'm of the mindset that both of them needed this win, which we know is not possible, which is why we tune in and drop $50 again to watch this stuff. Miro winning, I'm good with it. I did not expect Hobbs to tap out. I thought if anything they would go with he's passing out in the game over, but we saw that later on in the show with Danielson and Stark. So
right.
I'm glad the agents talked to each other and they worked that out. I want to discuss the post match. So Hobbs extends the hand, extends the arm to Miro after he just submitted him. And we get the gratuitous bicep shot. Both of them locking hands. Okay. Maybe a tag team, maybe just mutual respect. And then, of course, Hobbs ambushes him from behind. To your point, Brad, I think this means we're for sure getting a rematch, whether that be at Collision or in New York or whatever. For sure, that's got to happen. But then we get a surprise. We get an AEW debut. We don't know what they're calling her in AEW yet, but the artist formerly known as Lana, Miro's shoot wife, appeared. She's, what is it? She's hot and flexible.
Hot and flexible.
She's hot and flexible. She appeared. She brought out the chair, and then Miro got his comeuppance back on Hobbs. What did you think of the interaction between Miro and Lana? Because Miro didn't pull the, this is my baby, like let's go, we're about to run roughshod. He was a bit hesitant. I believe he even said, "You're not real. No, you're not real. I can't do this." What did you think of the post-match angle?
Made a ton of sense because he's been saying it in promos for weeks. So his promos have been, I even had to get, like, I lost my wife, I lost this, I lost that because of my God.
And Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, right. And Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Oh, and somewhere she's still being driven through tables for no reason, over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, man. I think. Do I love it? I don't know yet. We'll find out. I love that she's there. I love that we're getting more women in the women's division. Or maybe she's just a manager. Maybe she's just hot and flexible and on the sidelines. I have no idea, but. I have absolutely no idea what the future holds for CJ Perry, Lana, whatever we're calling her. Mm-hmm. I did think that it's consistent with what he was saying in his promos. He didn't say that he imagined his hot wife, though. So interested to see where this goes. Excited that there's a new wrinkle. Here's what I took away from it. If CJ Perry / Lana / Mystery is there, I've been suppressing a yawn this entire time, man. You've been doing
well. I've seen it.
You go like this, and I'm just like, I'm struggling.
Listen, man, it's not our first pod of the day. We've been grinding. You've been doing the tech. You deserve your yawn. Take it when you want to.
I'm trying not.
Got
to.
you.
Lana being on there, CJ Perry being on there means that Miro is going to be around more, which means more of both on my screen, which is a victory.
That's a big
in a lap. So my guess is that this week on Collision, we get Miro and CJ Perry interacting. Hopefully Miro in the ring. Hopefully he goes and squashes some dude from wherever they are currently going to be. And he grabs the microphone. And then this weekend, I imagine that my wife was back, but it can't be. And then she comes out. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Speaking of the women, Chris Statlander defeated Ruby Soho in a pretty fun singles match here. Ruby has got a really incredible. She must be using like a lot of biotin to grow her hair that fast, but she looked great in this match. I thought this was fun. It's not my favorite match, but I thought this was a really good match. I thought it was fun. I thought Saraya is maximum annoying on the outside, just yelling at the cameraman that they're too close.
They're too close.
And then we got the Storm coming out, and that was a fun little wrinkle.
Yeah.
So probably irreparable damage there.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what it means for that faction, because I don't really know who the babyface is in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Toni Storm is going to end up getting a Chelsea Green treatment here. Like, she's bad, she's a heel, but she's so over the top that she'll be beloved because of it. So I think good things are going to happen here for Toni Storm. I'm loving this character that she's in. I had to break the news to Mr. Bergeson that Tony and Juice were married, and he had no idea. And I was like, it seems like as Juice gets more insane in the ring, Tony's also been ramping it up. So I feel like they're pushing each other a little bit.
Great call. Yeah.
He was on the ground in the ramp last week, like howling at the moon. And then you get unhinged Toni Storm forgetting that the same person that's interviewing her interviewed her the previous week. It's all so good. I kind of love pro wrestling.
Yeah, they're clearly having a blast right now. I did not even make that connection. Yeah, you're so right, man. I wonder if we ever see them together in an intergender tag or any acknowledgement on screen. That'd be cool.
I would love some acknowledgement, but I never need to see them wrestle together.
For sure. They're doing great on their own right now.
Well, because they'll beat everybody.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's way too strong to beat. Like, that's gonna win every time.
Yeah, babyface Toni Storm is my favorite Toni Storm as well. So her leaving the Outcast, or what seems to be her exit from the Outcast, I'm here for it. I'll definitely tune in, and it's gonna be really good. Chris Statlander, Brad. I love me some Chris. That is not a surprise to long-term listeners and viewers of GI. I was so happy for her to more than a woman. You already know. I was so happy for her to get this spot. This continues my thread of talents, being in positions that they hadn't yet been in. I don't remember the last Chris Statlander singles match on a pay-per-view. I don't even know that exists.
The last one was against Jade.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It counted as an official match. You're right. But this was actually her getting time with Ruby. Right. I enjoy. This was one of my favorite matches of the night, actually. Ruby is great. I thought Chris looked like an absolute star here with the gear, with the entrance, with the performance. This is kind of, you may laugh at this, but her finisher and the name of it, how it shifts depending on the day.
Yes.
Sometimes it's the Wednesday night fever, it's a Saturday night fever, it's a Sunday night fever, it's the Friday. I really love that. Like, that's just pro wrestling, and it makes me so happy. Yeah. I thought Chris showed out. I'm so glad she's back, and I just can't say enough great things about her. I'm such a huge fan. Ruby was awesome, and eager to see what Saraya does as well with her upcoming title reign.
I agree completely. I think Ruby getting that spot, I thought Ruby had it with the No Future, and then immediately hitting Destination Unknown and Chris kicking out. Ruby's reactions to people kicking out of her finisher is, God, it's so underrated.
She's a great actress. I wonder if she took theater when she was in school. I'm pretty sure I've heard that on an interview.
Wouldn't be surprised, man.
Didn't you see her as a theater kid?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100%. F. Wing Jones.
Yes.
Miranda High.
100%.
Yep.
Yep. I thought both women looked great. I thought this was a great spot for both of them, to your point.
For sure.
Really happy that Stack got the spot. I thought this match was great. Thought it was awesome. Bryan Danielson defeated Ricky Starks in one of the most uncomfortable matches of the evening, but also one of my favorite. I have seen a lot of strap matches, but very few of them involve a spot specifically attacking the face. And they went after each other in this. Bryan Danielson was hitting Ricky Starks like he owed him money. This was nuts. The ferocity and the expression on his face. And I know Bryan Danielson has said in interviews, because he's a calm guy and he's a pretty peaceful guy, but he loves violence and he loves inflicting pain on people, and he likes getting hit back. And yeah, that showed. I don't know. This was violent. This was really, really violent, and it was awesome, and it made sense. And I'm glad Big Bill had a spot. I'm glad Ricky got to go in and interrupt it. I wish Big Bill would be in more matches because I don't know why he's not in there contending all the time. They haven't figured out how to use him, I think. Kind of a Big Show problem, but like a very different looking Big Show. So I don't really know what they do with him, but I thought the match was fun. The strap was so twisted by the end of it. I was afraid somebody was going to get really, really hurt, but I love that. Danielson tried to submit him, couldn't do it, and then ended up just using the strap to choke him out until he passed out. I thought it was awesome. Great finish. Made Ricky look super strong. Made Danielson look, well, just showed how awesome he is. I can't even say look awesome because we know this. This is great. This is a lot of fun. I'm glad to see in 2023 Ricky Steamboat on a pay-per-view.
Amen. There's so much I want to say about this match. We were speaking about Ruby and her acting prowess before. I think Ricky Starks has to be on that list as well. I love his performance throughout this match, but particularly at the end when he's being choked out by Danielson, and how the look on his face, how he goes from resilient and he's not going to quit to slowly you see him just start to descend and drop, and then he's passed out and the match is over. This was my match of the night. I didn't even have this in my top 3 most anticipated matches, which is blasphemy because I know Bryan Danielson's arguably the best there is right now. And yeah, and Ricky Starks is obviously someone I root for and enjoy thoroughly. But yeah, I just had at least 2 or 3 matches above this one, but this ended up being my favorite. Like you said, Brad, it was brutal. The exchanges, Danielson is known for this, but Ricky Starks is more of our he's our Pau Gasol, right? He's known as being the finesse guy and not really, that's not really his forte, but he completely delivered here. I'm still processing Danielson winning this one. I thought this was going to be the night for Ricky to get a signature W. Danielson had the music. He was clearly a babyface, even though he was a super rotten heel the last time we saw him, and he still has the BCC jacket. The fan base just loves and respects him so much and is thrilled he's back that he absolutely was the babyface in this match, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, the match was phenomenal. One of my favorite AEW matches of the summer, now heading into fall. This was great. And I just want Ricky to get some more wins, though. And like you, I also want to see Big Bill in more in-ring action. I think AEW, as much as we love it, there's been inconsistent booking for their big men.
Yeah.
That seems to be kind of a trope. I say that knowing Luchasaurus won tonight, but over the course of their history, it seems like big men haven't quite prospered consistently there. I think Big Bill has all the traits to change that. But yeah, man, this match was great. Again, it won my match of the night distinction. It was brutal. It was violent. And it was amazing.
Yeah. Big Bill is 3 inches taller than Luchasaurus. And
is that right? Wow.
And
I feel like he's the tallest wrestler I've ever seen.
Yeah, he looks enormous. And Satnam Singh is like 3 or 4 inches taller than
Yeah, right.
It's absolutely bonkers, but
it is. To
your point, yeah, Big Bill and Satnam Singh are serving the same purpose right now, where Satnam Singh is one in billions, right? Big Bill is definitely rare, and he's not Satnam Singh, but Big Bill can do stuff that Satnam Singh is never going to be able to do at that size. He's just so big that his body would betray him if he started to do stuff. And Luchasaurus can do like moonsaults and crap. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever that a man that big can move like that. Awesome. Between him and Miro being just crazy flexible.
Wardlow, right? Wardlow, like he's the perfect example of someone who's
star.
Been. That you and I spoke about it on our other episode. Whenever Wardlow comes back, like, please figure out a plan for this guy. He's also special.
Yeah, his momentum is all but gone at this point, so hopefully they find something. And I don't know what that's going to look like.
I sure hope so.
I love this Bryan Danielson Ricky Starks match. I thought it was great. My match of the night still yet to come.
I think I know where you're going.
But it's up there. Blackpool Combat Club defeated Eddie Kingston and Shibata. Kind of surprised by this finish. It came out of nowhere for me, which was kind of refreshing. Yeah, I liked being surprised. The match ended and it felt like, oh, there's lots of kickouts, lots of kickouts, or saves or whatever, and then boom, done, uppercut. We watched Claudio give Wheeler Yuta 400 uppercuts, and he did collapse at the end of it, but maybe that should have been our foreshadowing that after the beating, it only takes one. But surprised me that Eddie lost. Eddie continues to lose to Claudio, and still a lot of fun. Glad Shibata got a chance to be on this on the show. I know you said there's a lot of Ring of Honor that's on here too, but I still think of him as New Japan. So getting to see him in a ring at all after almost dying is pretty cool. So this was fun. This is a lot of fun.
No doubt. Yeah, I'll be quick here. This surprised me. Claudio winning with just one uppercut while Shibata is choking out Yuta. That was
awesome.
That was awesome. That made me laugh. I'm wondering what the Eddie match is going to be at Arthur Ashe, because I think he needs to have a prominent spot. I think he needs to walk out of New York with a big W. I wonder if that's where we're getting the Claudio rematch.
Yeah.
And Eddie goes over. Maybe they save it. But Eddie getting pinned here surprised me. I thought he would actually get the win for his team, or even Shibata. I thought those guys were definitely going to walk out victorious. But I think this is setting up Eddie versus Claudio, and for Eddie to finally dethrone him for that ROH championship. But the match itself was a ton of fun. I mean, these four guys are uber talented. Eddie is over wherever they go. Yuta's great. Yeah. Claudio is literally like, if you were going in a laboratory to create a wrestler, Claudio is the result you would end up with. And like you so eloquently stated, Brad, being able to watch Shibata is always a huge treat. Yeah, this match definitely exceeded my expectations. I wasn't super thrilled going into it, but that was really foolish of me because these guys are pros.
Yeah, this is a blast. Our next match, Konosuke Takeshita with Don Callis entering to Ambient Noise. Defeated Kenny Omega. This match humped. This was so good. Such a scary spot with Kenny from the angle that it was shot. And when you see it at the other angle, you see he landed pretty much on his shoulder with his neck turned, and made me feel a lot better about how he landed. It's probably how he took that storm driver against Ospreay, but it's one of those things where it's like, I hope he's okay. Because
it was early on. It was within the first 90 seconds.
Yeah,
right?
it was. I don't know if it was that soon after, but it was really early in the match.
It was super early.
Yeah. And it was just like, room got quiet. Pretty brutal. This whole match was brutal, man. They were hitting each other ferociously throughout the match. I think I tweeted this out. I need a race in the ring with Riddick Moss, Madcap Moss against Konosuke Takeshita. When Takeshita and Kenny hit the ropes opposite each other, Takeshita was on the other side clotheslining Kenny Omega when Kenny Omega was about 3 feet off the ropes. He might be the fastest human being inside of a wrestling ring that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Can I just interject to tell you, this is no lie. This is absolute fact. When we got that Takeshita line, I literally heard you in my head go, "Oh!" Like I heard your voice do that.
That's exactly what I did.
And that's exactly what you did. Okay, please continue. I heard your reaction in real time. That's great.
It's unbelievable. Like I don't.
Yeah,
the only other person I've ever seen move like that in the ring is Madcap Moss. That dude hit the ropes and then was just on the other side in 3 seconds. Is he out injured or just with a crappy character?
I don't know.
Like he's just kind of vanished. So
yeah, he had that push. I remember seeing him at SmackDown. What was it, a year ago? And he got the spot. He won in the main event, or he won at the beginning of the show to go to Money in the Bank. Long way of saying I don't know, Brad, but it looked like he was definitely on an upswing. The company clearly liked him and wanted to push him.
He was a baby face, and then he turned heel, and he was for who he was.
Yeah,
who's he with? Was that Maxine? I can't even remember.
Emma.
That's
his real life person. Yep.
That's right.
Happy for him.
I have no idea. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he's just they're working on a better character, because that character sucked.
He's fast though, just like Takeshita.
Unbelievably athletic.
Yeah, he's a big man.
If they could find a character for that dude, money. Until then, he just looks really impressive. Takeshita's character he's a badass. The end. Right person won here. Huge win for Takeshita. I could see him challenging for a title soon. And he's crazy young, but he's also one of the most experienced guys on the roster, which is always going to be nuts to me.
He's got next. I don't know when that moment is going to come for him.
Do we just keep saying that for all the matches?
Might be a little too soon. I think probably this is a 2024 conversation, because I don't think his first title is necessarily going to be, the Triple B, but I think he is definitely, like you said, a main contender for some gold. Probably not the international championship now, but whether it ends up being the TNT championship or something in ROH, maybe he dethrones Eddie after Eddie beats Claudio. I don't know, man. Takeshita is next up. He's just spectacular and is going to be the face of the company, I think, before we know it.
I hope that he goes after the TNT title, and then Christian tries to kill Don Callis because he's acting like Takeshita's father. Our next match was Bullet Club Gold, which defeated FTR, and I do find it hilarious that Cash Wheeler was pinned by the Gun Club on the roster. Pretty amazing. So
there are jokes to be made.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I thought this was great. I mean, it delivered, except when it didn't. There were a lot of little moments where I was like, that punch didn't land, that kick didn't land, that Austin Gunn leg sweep with the hand, that I think it knocked down Dax. It's like, I don't even think he touched him. So there was one kick that I can recall, but I can't remember who was selling for it. But the foot that was supposed to connected the way that Uncle Howdy connected with LA Knight. So it was a little rough. And I thought that was really weird. Now, I'm probably being super unfair here, and I'm not going to sit here and criticize it, because they were moving so fast that I don't know if you weren't paying attention to that stuff, if you even notice it. But it was just the camera angles weren't great for those spots. So it's just like, it caught it at the perfect angle. Any other angle, and you don't even see it. But happy that everybody in this match got those spots, specifically in the Bullet Club. I don't think FTR or the Young Bucks need the spots to shine. They're pretty bulletproof. And those two teams tagging together look like an unstoppable force. And they lost, which is huge for Bullet Club. So I really like this. I thought everybody got to look good, and Bullet Club got the win, and they get the rub because of that. And I'm happy for Austin and Colton Gunn for getting a big spot like this. I'm not sure that having them in there with that much talent made them look like they were going to shine necessarily through the whole thing. But man, I cannot believe how fast they've improved and just how much better they are than when they debuted. It's every week seems like they've gotten better. So happy that they got that spot. And I thought this was a really fun match.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say because we had some Wi-Fi issues here in Glendale. Right. And every time this happens during a pay, Brad, I know that it usually happens about half or 3/4 of the way through a match. And I know by the time I get this feed back streaming, the match is going to be over.
Yeah.
And that proved positive for this one. I missed the end, but I did hear that the BC Gold won. This match was a little chaotic for me, and not necessarily in a bad way, but this by far was the one match where the crowd showed some love for CM Punk. There were some CM Punk chants, but then there were also some Young Bucks chants. The Bucks totally leaned into it and posed even more.
So good.
Even more than they did some just ridiculously athletic moves, and then they posed. 5 minutes later, they did the same thing. And there were a lot of Bucks fans in the crowd. There was a CM Punk contingent for sure, but it seemed like there were just as many Nick and Matt Jackson fans in the arena for it. I agree with you about the Guns. I wasn't sure if they were going to book 3 heel acts to win to close out the show. So Takeshita, BC Gold, and then Mox. So I was kind of getting in my head about like, oh, I wonder which babyface is going to take the win here, because I don't know if they're going to close the show like this. But good move for BC Gold to get the victory. And Jay White, we spoke about Juice, we spoke about the Guns. Jay White is also clearly a priority for AEW. I don't think the man has taken a pin since he's signed with the company officially. So we're speaking about people who could ascend and who could have gold around their waist very soon. I don't think we can forget about Switchblade in that conversation.
Wait, didn't you lose to Punk?
Who did he got pinned? They didn't face each other one-on-one, I don't think.
Who he main evented one night in, God, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was Collision, and I thought it was CM Punk.
I don't think they faced each other yet.
Maybe I'm wrong about. Well, they're not going to now.
They're not going to now. Yeah, obviously he beat Dax over this weekend, but no, I mean certainly when he's been in the tag team with Juice, they lost to FTR, and I don't think he's been pinned since he's been back though.
Yeah, I think. Man, I don't know what happened with my voice.
I think that may have been your fantasy booking.
Yeah, that must have been. Maybe I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but there was rumors like CM Punk was a big Jay White guy, and that was going to be a future program. Yeah. But
that was probably the CMFTR thing.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So okay, I really liked this. Hear me out. I don't know that the baby faces lost that match. Okay. Are the Young Bucks baby faces in Chicago?
I don't think they're ever going to be. No.
So
FTR got a big pop, but the Bucks, more polarizing.
I also think there is a very strong positive correlation between Matt Jackson just aggressively chomping gum and running in place to how much of a heel they are in that moment. Every time I see the little in-ring sprints in a little circle, and then Matt standing in the corner, just like looking at the crowd and chomping, like if he doesn't chomp the gum, he'll run out of oxygen and die. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I was like, oh, they're just, to your point, they're really leaning into it. And I just thought it was so entertaining. I loved it. I love the Dax no sells. The getting slapped and getting pissed about it and getting up. I loved all that. I thought this was fun. Finally, our main event, which delivered big time. John Moxley defeated Orange Cassidy, and I don't know how to feel about this. Right now, I feel sad, really happy. I think Mox winning makes a ton of sense for the person that takes us off. I was thinking about this before the match. We had conversations, I think, on the show early on. I think you and I both said this. Orange Cassidy doesn't need a title. He'll never need to hold gold because he's bulletproof, and his act is what it is, and it's entertaining in its own right, and he doesn't need to be champion and all things like that. And that was us kind of going like, yeah, he doesn't need to be champion. I think both of us saw that potential. And there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, he can never be champion. Look at him. He's not big enough. Nobody can take him seriously, all this. He just main evented the biggest pay-per-view for them traditionally of the year. All Out is like their mania. So for Orange Cassidy to get to main event, and yeah, he lost, but people didn't even think he was supposed to be there. And he just had one of the best years of any professional wrestler in the last who knows how many years, as good as anybody. And he'll probably continue so, but I kind of hope that there's a lot of K-tape on that dude's body that I'm not sure is just there for show. So I'm hoping after this, he goes and gets his body right, just takes a break. He deserves a vacation, and go sit in an ice bath and then get in a hot tub and then sleep for 3 weeks and then come back and hopefully be healed and healthy and all that. This was great. I love this. I love that it was kind of an extended squash with a few comebacks. Because Moxley really beat the crap out of him. And that last paradigm shift, good Lord. I mean, it was more of a brain buster than a paradigm shift. It was bonkers.
How did this match play out for your guess?
Everybody was it got quiet because I think everybody was concerned by the blood. He definitely I was like, oh man, I think he Eddie Guerrero'd himself there. He must have gotten a vein or something, because that just wouldn't stop.
There was a lot of blood on the show.
There's a lot of blood. Yeah. On the whole show.
Darby, Daniel, yeah.
Now, I did lose my DraftKings bet. Listen, man, if you were gonna, I'm glad there's no money in this thing. If you were going to bet, if knowing what you know now, you just ignore it. Jon Moxley bleeding or no? I mean, you're gonna pick that almost every time.
You're gonna take it every time. Yep.
Yeah. So, I think that was the only part of it I missed. Was I picked over 1.5 paradigm shifts, over 1.5 orange punches, over 5 kicks, or 6+ or whatever. Which I'm not sure how they count that, because he did the leg taps and it just started kicking Moxley in the face.
Yeah, that was a great spot.
But the biggest thing was the blood. I picked both of them to bleed, and only Orange Cassidy was bleeding. So I was pretty disappointed. I thought the shot into the ring post might have been it for him, or into the steps or wherever it was. I thought that might be it, but I thought this is a great main event. And really happy that to go back to your question, they were all laughing at him just laying in the ring while everybody leaves. He's just in there bleeding and nobody's helping him. I think my guests were a little
that was pretty funny.
Yeah. By the way, he's just laying in the ring bleeding.
We know he has friends. Like we saw them before this match. We've seen them on this card. They're here.
And they said that. I was like, they're definitely waiting so that the other guys can leave, so that he can get his flowers. Yep. And that's what we got at the end there. And I think that's awesome.
And that's what we needed. That is truly easy for me to say now, Brad, but that's truly how I thought the show would end. Whether win or loss, OC would get his moment, get the cheers, and that would close the show. So great decision. I could not agree more with what you said about Orange Cassidy's time in AEW. It's clear to me now when colleagues or other folks now ask me who my favorite AEW wrestler is, I usually have to think about it, and then I name like 5 people and then 8 people. Yeah. The answer is Orange Cassidy. It just has to be. His first match, you and I think this is collectively one of our favorite AEW matches ever. Him versus Pac at Revolution. It was referenced in the video package. It's been brought up. Exactly what you said, Brad, about this guy. If you would have said back then that this guy's going to end up main eventing what is typically their biggest show of the year, I don't think many people would have believed you. I probably wouldn't have. And I was just learning of OC and really loving what he was putting out. I'm just so happy that he got this spot. When I was on the fence about ordering this pay-per-view or not, I just really had to reflect on, wait, Orange Cassidy is likely going to main event this show. And win, lose, or draw, I want to support that show, because I don't know if it's going to happen again. Hopefully it will. But this was a huge deal in his career. This whole year has just been monumental for him. I want us to roll back the tape, because I'm pretty sure I predicted him as international champion was going to be big. I didn't realize it was going to be this big, but what a reign it was for him. You're right, Brad. Although I'm a little in my feelings too. Definitely the right night for him to drop it. Definitely the right person, former multi-time champ. I'm also leaving this show thinking about how time after time Mox has stepped up when the company is needed. We're going to talk about OC. We've talked about him now. We're going to talk about him in future episodes. But Jon Moxley, man, Mr. No Days Off. Mr. What does he have in vacation time, Brad? Like 200 hours?
Yeah.
No sick days. Like, the man is just, it's really absurd. The fact that he has stepped up for these shows, I don't know if we want to run down the list or anything, but it's just been incredible. Like, big ups to him, because this is another example where he's called upon and he delivers in the biggest way possible.
Yeah, it can't be understated, right? Like he's the MVP of AEW in terms of consistent leadership and stepping up in really big spots as a person who is an established name. And now you can say Orange Cassidy is one of those established names.
Yes.
He had the longest reign in AEW history. He had more defenses for a longer period of time. I can't say enough about him. Everybody that doubted him, that match, I think all the way back, if you go all the way back to that match with Will Ospreay at the first Forbidden Door, that was really his coming out party. And I think people finally had to go, oh, this guy's legit. This isn't like a silly, funny comedy thing all the time. You can have both. And I love that the conversation changed within the matches. Oh, this is one of his tactics. He's just playing head games.
It's a tactic. Yes. Right.
And
it's like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't hip to that for a while. It's a tactic he's using, truly.
Yeah. And I was like,
go.
This is great. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It shifted it from, okay, this is silly. And I get, like, Chris Jericho also tried to tell us, right? That dude knew before anybody else knew how special this guy was. And I would love to go back. I might have to do that and go back and look at those Mimosa Mayhem days and just watch those matches over to see if he was doing the same kinds of things. Because he always has his moments in his matches where we get kind of the same thing, the stun dog millionaire and the kind of the tornado DDT stuff that he does. And we get the beach break and the orange punches. But he'll every once in a while put in a seatbelt or a crucifix or some other thing that we haven't seen him roll out. That's like a pretty complicated technical thing to get into, and it's consistently good. His selling is incredible. Like he's one of my favorite dudes to watch just get hit, because it looks like death every time. And then tonight it looked like it was just actual death. That I'm still thinking about that last paradigm shift.
Yeah. It would make so much storyline sense for him to go away for a while. Of course, we want that for the performer, for the man himself to rest up and heal. But yeah, this was an absolutely vicious match. Bloodshed, strikes. I mean, it was a Jon Moxley match for sure. I think this was a different type of match for OC. Yeah, we've seen him involved in parking lot brawls and, like you said, in a banger with Will Ospreay, but he wrestled a Jon Moxley match, and he was awesome. That spot where he went from the lackadaisical kicks to just stomping the life out of. I mean, this was a coming out party for OC. Mox stepped up once again, and the International Championship main evented all out.
Amazing.
That is because of Orange Cassidy. Yep. He made this championship into one that we are totally fine with main eventing a show. Bravo to these guys. This is incredible.
Man, well said. It's hard to believe that was the championship. That was the All Atlantic not that long ago. Yeah. And do you remember the first champion?
It was Pac, right?
Crazy. And
two belts Pac.
Did Orange take it from him?
Yeah, he did. That was at the Canada show with the orange confetti.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only two champions in the history. Yeah.
That's
now
right.
Three.
Now three. And when I think about that, it's especially wild to me, knowing what you said is that one of the first favorite, or maybe our favorite AEW moment, especially early on, was Orange Cassidy and Pac.
It was mine
his
for
run
sure.
started with Pac, which is amazing. I love that it all came full circle. That we get Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley, that he's taken seriously in the main event. I'm kind of curious to see what Moxley's response is after this. Now he won, after saying, "Don't disappoint us." I don't think you can say he did. I thought that was amazing.
Mm-hmm. This is a great show,
Brad.
I guess my final question for you, without being too prisoner of the moment for for lack of a term here. Where does this show rank for you in terms of what AEW's put out this year? So last weekend, we got the infamous All in London. We had Double or Nothing leading into summer. We had Revolution headlined by MJF versus Bryan Danielson, probably our favorite for AEW match of the year, quite possibly.
Yeah.
Initial thought, where does tonight rank for you?
Best thing this year that's not Wembley. Wembley, I actually think like Wembley, the wrestling was incredible. I thought the wrestling tonight was just as good, if not better. But you can't replace 80,000 people. So it's really difficult for me to say that this is better than that. I mean, how can you almost have to say that this is it. We got CM Punk's last match in AEW. We got all these different moments, maybe Jack Perry's last match in AEW. We have no idea what's going on with any of that, with people going off script. And tonight was special. It needed to be. And yeah, I'm going to say this is my favorite one of the year so far. So yeah, it's prisoner of the moment. And I think going forward, I think Full Gear is going to end up being this thing that has to be incredible, because everybody's going to have to step up to make it so. And we have more pay-per-views coming up because of this thing they're doing with, I got to tell you, man, TK needs to slow it the hell down. Like
my income isn't matching the increase in pay-per-views here. Should I go to the boss on Tuesday, Brad, and say, yo, I've been working hard and these pay-per-views are stacking up. Can you throw a little extra zero?
If you throw in all in, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pay-per-views now. 7. That's too many.
It's a lot. $50 on October 1st,
man. Yeah, I'm a teacher.
Teacher discount.
And though a lot of money goes to the GI pod, most of it goes to the Jet at 19 Media Group. So just don't have a lot of extra money to throw around. So TK, if you're listening, number 1, get us back on the media calls. Number 2, slow it down with these pay-per-views, man. I appreciate the content, but get this damn stuff on Max, so I don't have to pay $1 million a year to watch your product. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Well, speaking of appreciation, Brad, well said. I completely agree with you. This is an amazing show, and we need to get this content on Max. TK, make it happen. Speaking of appreciation, we appreciate you all for riding with us. This was a rare day. This was a special day for us at GI. 2 episodes. We hope that you enjoyed this one. We hope you check out our standard weekly episode. And once again, we are just so thankful for your support. You can find our articles on wrestling, pop culture, and more by visiting gimmickinfringementpod.com. You can also find us on Twitter at GIPod19. Brad's on there at WinDuster. You can also find me at Tyler J. McDowell. And we hope you'll join us again for the next edition of GI. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.